Now, I'm going to play a short clip from the Al Jazeera documentary that was on last night. You can still get that on YouTube. And then you'll hear the interview I had with Tahir Mirza and Mahmoud Mirza, who I spoke to last night. They can't come on the show today because they're tied up.
Newham in East London is a diverse community. Residents have Pakistani, Bangladeshi, white, African and Caribbean heritage. The election of Corbyn as leader sees a sudden growth in membership of the party and interest in local politics.
Welcome, Jeremy Corbyn!
Suddenly all these people are thinking, oh, I'm going to join the Labour Party. We've got Jeremy Corbyn. There are ideas now. We can talk about freedom and equality and good social services and a proper national health service.
But not everyone in the party welcomes the new members.
We are a borough which is 100% Labour borough, but there wasn't enough representation of the Muslim community, especially Pakistani community. All the Labour Party leaders was from the white members of the community.
Pre-2016, the Labour Party was quite small in Newham, and meetings were even smaller. So people had positions. I think it became, for many of them, like a social club.
A factional battle breaks out based on racial lines.
That he fears Newham is being infiltrated by a number of Pakistani men. Something that I saw as clear-cut Islamophobia. The word infiltrate is quite a loaded term, especially when you're talking about a group of Muslims who are trying to engage within politics.
It's shocking to use the word infiltrate. It's othering, it's putting people outside of the mainstream. It's very symptomatic that somebody who's working full-time for the Labour Party would see people who wanted to join as infiltrators. I think that's quite disgraceful and says a huge amount about their level of consciousness around race.
When I first read the dossier, I was quite terrified, actually, for the members. It was horrific to see the level of detail that was included in such a dossier.
It's a shocking document. It seems to me that somebody actually working inside the Labour Party against ethnic minorities.
The dossier contains private information about the lives and activities of Muslim members and their families. We have redacted this information.
Mahmoud Mirza is registered to vote and is a member of the party at an address in West Ham. There is clear evidence that Mahmoud Mirza, his wife, and children live in East Ham. One of his children attends the nearby academy, and the other a local primary school. His car, license number, has been parked on several occasions near to...
It looks like somebody is constantly monitoring me. They have got all the information about me, what I do, where I go, where my children goes, where I work.
So it's quite telling that the dossier uses ethnic and racial criteria to identify new Labour Party members. It sees as being problematic.
The dossier makes the same claims as the complaint letter that was sent to the party leaders 4 years earlier.
This report describes the activities of a small group of Labour Party members involved in coordinated activities to take over both the constituency parties that make up the London Borough of Newham.
It is shocking, yes. The word being used in taken over.
Activities to take over both constituency parties in Newham. Take over.
If you have 80% BAM living in those areas and the mostly membership are from the ethnic minorities, that word takeover is completely wrong. Perhaps someone who done that don't like the ethnic minority at all.
There seems to have been in the Labour Party in London and in Newham an acceptance that Islamophobia was okay. Is that your impression, Mahmood?
Yes, I would say the amount of intelligence gathering and making this dossier, especially against the ethnic minorities living in London Borough of Newham, I think it's a clear indication towards Islamophobia. The people, Muslim men are trying to take over the CLP. Well, obviously, if the community living here, these are the people who joined the Labour Party, not because to take over, they wanted to get involved in the Labour Party. And I think most of the people joined after the Jeremy Corbyn become a leader. So he was kind of inspiration for those people to join the Labour Party. Actually, it wasn't, and it might be more Asian people than the other communities, but it's saying that they wanted to take over, infiltrating in the Labour Party, or obviously it is an element of Islamophobia in there. So we have to, admit that it has been going on for a long time.
Yeah, and to hear, I mean, the point of being in the Labour Party is to change society, not to take over or infiltrate. It's such a blinkered racist view on why people would join a party. It's as if they're saying, I mean, actually there's one quote that I don't put in that clip because it's difficult for me to put in, was that someone said they were alerted to a gathering of predominantly Asian men on the pavement. I mean, what the hell is that about? I mean, alerted to a gathering of predominantly Asian men. If that, I mean, that the fact that hasn't been put out in the media as an appalling instance of racism, and what does it say about the Labour Party, how it's operating? I mean, you're not. Are you still in the Labour Party? Or I suppose you both left by now, but.
I left the Labour Party. I resigned from the Labour Party.
I resigned as well. I resigned as well.
Would you tell us what your experience was in that sense?
I mean, since Jeremy Corbyn became a leader, we felt that we have a voice. We never been given a voice before. Although I joined the Labour Party when Ken Livingstone actually stood as a mayor. That was some time ago now. And I feel, okay, he's the man on the left and I need to support him. That is the time when I joined it. And I personally been working alongside the Labour Party, and I felt where the 80% are, more than 80% are the BAM community, they don't have any representation in the CLPs or wards even though. In 2018, I stood up as the candidate for the chair of the CLP. Although before that I was a secretary and the chair for my ward, I decided to stand up. And this is the first time, you probably noticed that the first dossier came on about that time there, or when one of the councillors who supported me to stand as the chair. And that was the time when they was thinking of, oh, what happened? We've been handling the Newham Labour Party as a bureaucratic way, but where these people come from? And that was the first time when they actually start saying these things and start building up the case. You perhaps noticed that in that dossier, the person who wrote this dossier is about that time. So they already started from that time. And since then, we've been working hard for the Labour Party. Labour Party was like our family. Our CLP particularly, and alongside with the Western CLP, even just last general election, 2019, we traveled nearly 30 CLP in the whole country, where we have taken a lot of comrades for their campaign and everything, because Jeremy Corbyn gave us a reason, because his ideas was the NHS and bringing back to all these things to the public ownership. this is what we're supposed to be doing it. I mean, we are suffering now because we haven't followed those policies. But anyway, that's what happened. Important thing is people standing on the pavement. Where they're talking about is the area called Trinity Center, where we used to have the meetings and all that. Around them, there is about 5 mosques, temples, everywhere. Everywhere Asian people standing on the footpath anyway. So I'm really shocked where they actually get these things from. They are gathering, they are standing, they are doing this, they are trying to do this. They just made up things. These are the just made up things. And I believe now, to see a little bit of that second dossier, they was trying to do some racial profiling here, basically.
Yeah.
And this is alarming. Who goes where, who, when time is goes, what time, what business they do, every single thing. So that is the reason that I decided enough is enough. If the Jeremy Corbyn is not reinstated, I'm not going to stay in the party until something changes drastically, changes quickly, whatever. But that was the time. But my take is still that Labour Party at the moment, under the current leader, is institutional racist.
Well, they've done nothing to counter that, but from what we've seen on that documentary. Why do you think, Mahmood, why do you think they'd want to censor that documentary? Do you think that Labour would suffer with the vote in constituencies with a Muslim population? Do you think that this is why they're scared of this?
Okay, so I don't know if you're aware of now, I did stand as an independent candidate for mayor of Newham in the May election, and I took about 5,400 votes as an independent candidate, regardless of, it's 100% Labour borough. It's never happened before. Somebody just come, and it is, people are start thinking now CLPs are suspending. The people who took actively part in the Labour Party, and people thought we are the Labour Party, and we represent the Labour Party locally, and we've not been given a voice. And before that, I was suspended for 2 years, and obviously. And I was stood for the council as well. I lost by 100 votes. Went very close. And highest, my award was the highest in turnout, and marginally was very closest. I come closest. But it's the start of a beginning. I think it's going to be changed. People, red vote is falling here. People are not believing in a Labour Party anymore, because. Look, it was 100% Labour. We had 2 Green councillors now. We had the competition of 2 Green councillors in different wards. It is crumbling. It might not happen in next election, but it will happen in election after. The Labour Party will lose some seat. Labour Party might lose a majority in this borough because of their attitude, because they're not giving the right people, to representation in the borough. Well, it was imposition for the whole council selection, including the mayoral selection. It was imposition. CLPs got suspended over that dossier. What you have seen, it was the things has been. I mean, it's bizarre things happening in this dossier. What they said about individuals and about the party and individual related to other individuals, but there was no reason for them to suspend the Labour Party. And if they suspended the Labour Party, if they wanted to do audit of the membership, they had enough time before the council selection. They could have done it, but they deliberately not done it because they wanted to have an imposition. They wanted to put their own people in. They wanted to exclude those BAME majority borough, BAME representation from the borough. I mean, it's a clear Islamophobia. There's a lot of Muslim communities, leadership, wrote a letter to the Labour Party once about suspension of a council, and there was no action was taken, and the council was suspended for I think 3 years before it got reinstated. I mean, Labour Party was a family, but with a heavy heart, we had to resign. We don't feel welcome in the Labour Party. I was suspended. Even before I was suspended, it was a hostile environment for our community. The people who, new members come to the meeting, they don't feel welcomed in the meeting.
Yeah.
So it was a hostile environment. So it led us to leave the party at the end.
Can I do? I mean, the other thing. I mean, it's not just Newham, is it? Because if you look at next door at Tower Hamlets, the Labour Party has fallen apart in Tower Hamlets. Now, would you say that similar Islamophobia was occurring in Tower Hamlets? I mean, I used to live in Hounslow, and I remember they used to do where they closed down a ward or a branch if people were signing up for membership. The region would say, oh, we can't, it's special measures for this particular ward, this particular branch, you can't sign anyone up, no one can join, no meetings. That's good, because this documentary talks about Newham, but it is actually would you say in both of your experiences that it's all over London, or is it all over the UK?
Chris, I would say a similar attitude. Labour Party had a similar kind of attitude with the Tower Hamlet before. You remember, Tower Hamlet was in special measures for a very long time before it was reinstated when Afsana Begum became a secretary of the CLP. But I mean, it was like stopping people to taking part in the politics. And look, where are they now? Labour Party is sitting in the opposition. Lutfur Rahman is a directly elected mayor there. He's got a majority. He's got his own cabinet. The whole Asian Muslim community, majority of them are Muslim. So I mean, because this is the community living. This is the community. You can't exclude the people who live in the borough, who pay the taxes, who wanted to, join the politics. You can't exclude them to, stand for the positions.
Now, can I just ask to hear a different question, but similar?
Yes.
Do you think because Labour has excluded Muslims from participating, and it has kind of looked at suspicion at a gathering of Asian men on a pavement, right? Does that make it more likely that the reaction to that would be that you would have a more Muslim politically focused party that would emerge? Because if there's no party that Muslims feel they can be part of, then they may well find that the best way to represent themselves is to be in a Muslim party. So it's actually making the divisions in communities more prominent by not allowing them to participate. Is that going to be the result of this?
I think so, but the only problem is at the moment is traditionally we are a Labour anyway, because all these Asian people come and join the Labour. Until or unless someone like Jeremy Corbyn, or maybe so-called 22 socialists in the Labour Party, form some kind of a party, and they need to give us a platform where we can shift it. And that is very, very important now. Otherwise, what's going to happen now next time is Muslims won't come out for vote, and their voice is not going to be heard at all. This is the main issue. They don't realize that what they're doing is they're shutting our mouth for no reason. And consequently, we probably go out and protest a lot. But in my opinion, the Muslims need to think again whether the Labour Party, they want it in this shape or they want a better Labour Party. I know the Muslim Network is working very, very hard. They presented their reports and all that, but that didn't happen. Anything at all. They just can put the report in and that's it, nothing more than that. But I think all the Muslims need to think very, very hard that is the Labour Party for them in the future, because I don't think so. The coming children of a third generation are looking very, very seriously these matters now. And I think this is gonna go a very wrong way. The Labour Party has to think very, very hard. Otherwise, the membership gonna go more down. But I'm actually looking for another party who present every single community living in Britain. That's what we're hoping for. Someone formed it basically, or maybe across the borough. He probably formed it the way he done it in Tower Hamlet. He probably do that as well. So basically, if we divided these communities between religion, that is the main issue. Labour Party have divided a lot. Like we have Pakistani friend of the Labour Party, then we have a Muslim friend of the Labour Party, we have Jewish friend of the Labour Party, we have Bangladeshi. We are divided now too much on a religious basis. And that is a very, very alarming. And I think when we talk about, yeah, you can friend of whatever, community you are, but as soon as you divide the party on religious basis, it means then you are asking for trouble. And that's what's happening. And when Jeremy was in there, his charisma is to bring everything together in a one platform. And that's what I've seen him. And this is, to be honest, a few years ago, I'm talking about good 12, 15 years ago, I never knew that what the socialism was. He's the one who educated us, really, to be honest. Because when we come here in this country or whatever it is, we don't know these things until somebody actually, as a leader, tell us that's what's supposed to be. And I think now he educates us so much in this society now. I know he's not leader anymore, but he educated us a lot. So I think we deserve a new party. The Muslims deserve a new party where every single community, I shouldn't use the word Muslim, but every single community sit down together, form a policies, making sure that we have left-wing think tanks, not like the think tanks we have in the Labour Party at the moment, and make a policy, do research it, and properly make a party which can deliver to the ethnic minorities as well.